The first order of business today is to approve the minutes of the annual meeting from last December. The meeting minutes are on page 2 of your packet, and I am happy to stand up here and read them.
Move to approve.
Okay. All right, sounds like we have a motion to waive the reading and move approval of the minutes as submitted. Do we have a second? All right, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And for those of you on Zoom, you should have some polls, so please vote with the poll. I'm assuming the ayes have it, and the minutes are approved. Now I'm going to invite Kathy Shuck, our secretary, forward to present the secretary's report. Excuse me.
Good morning. This is the Secretary's report for 2021. According to the Board of Professional Responsibility, there were 2,045 attorneys actively practicing law in Knoxville and Knox County at the end of this year. The total membership of our KBA is currently 1,832, of which 1,626 are attorneys, so we're doing pretty well. And 206 are law students. Compared to 2020, we have 39 more attorney members, but 106 fewer law student members. The 265 new members in 2021 included 106 attorneys and 150.
Hey, Kathy, sorry. Some people are saying they can't hear. Can you speak into the microphone? Sorry.
Law student members. Can you hear now?
Sorry.
Marcia, what about the handheld mic?
I would offer to start over, but let's say our membership is great this year and continues to be strong. Within the private practice firm setting, we have 1,125 members with 595 members, or 53%. In firms with 1 to 5 attorneys, we have 199 members in firms with 6 to 10 attorneys, which means 70% of our private attorneys are in firms with 10 or fewer attorney members. Take away from that, small firms are rocking the membership. How about now? Oh, listen to that. There are 160 KBA members working in government agencies, which represents the largest practice type of the 483 members that do not work in private practice at a law firm. I'll say there are 2 of us who work at Children's Hospital. As far as gender, 36% of the attorney members are female, compared to 59% of the law student members. In 2021, KBA adopted new classifications for race and ethnicity. Those new classifications are Asian, Black or African American, Hispanic Latino, Middle Eastern, Native American or Alaska Native, race unknown or option not listed, 2 or more races, multiracial, and white Caucasian. We ask you to please take a minute to update this information in your My KBA profile because we have a large percentage of members listed as race unknown. That concludes the Secretary's report.
Thank you, Kathy. I will now entertain a motion to approve the secretary's report. And we have a motion and a second. Now, for those of you on Zoom, please be looking for the poll where you can vote aye or nay. All in favor of approving the report, please say aye.
Aye.
And if there are any opposed, please let it be known by saying nay. All right, the secretary's report has been approved. Thank you. And now I will invite Loretta Cravens, our treasurer, forward to present the treasurer's report.
You will find the treasurer's report summary on page 9 of your packet. As you know, membership dues provide a significant portion of the revenue that KBA uses to operate and fulfill our mission. 30 to 35% of our budget is funded by our dues revenue. The average for bar associations of our size is about 52%. So we have to be creative in other ways to earn our revenue. If you look at your membership dues numbers in your packet, you will notice it appears that our dues revenues may be down for this year. However, that's just a little bit misleading. Our dues reminders were sent out slightly later than this year, so we're expecting that revenue to come in December and January. So if you haven't renewed, it's that time. Please remember to do so. KBA programming was virtual for most of 2021. Thank you all for participating in that. We had such great support from our members. Income from the lawyer referral service is down this year, but CLE and membership service income is up after being lower than expected in 2020. Active participation by you all, our members, like CLE, social events, the referral service is instrumental to the KBA's continued success. In addition, our expanded public service activities like our free legal advice clinics assist the neediest in our community. Since December 1st, 2020, the KBA has receipts of $717,109 and expenses totaling $668,047. On November 30, 2021, we have a balance of $113,646.74 plus $50,000 held in reserve. On behalf of the Board of Governors, the staff, please let me express our gratitude and thanks for your support, your commitment, and your continued membership in the KBA. All in all, it's been a really good year.
Thank you, Loretta. I will now entertain a motion to approve the treasurer's report. All right, we have a motion and a second. For those of you on Zoom, please vote in our poll. If all in favor of approving the treasurer's report, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, our treasurer's report is approved. We are going to move on now to the nomination and election of new officers and board members. I want to thank our nominating committee for presenting us a great slate of officers and board members. Candidates, the bios are in your packet. I think Marcia has circulated them before. And yeah, Marcia, go ahead.
Sorry, so this just brought to my attention, but boy, this is my error too. No, I don't want to be on the microphone telling you I made a mistake. Oh. I know, hold it down. Sorry. So I did the ballot and I forgot to change Eric Lutton for the government and public service sector position to Magistrate Robin Gunn. It's an uncontested position, but just so that you know, my error. So, yeah, Eric, you don't have to serve another year.
Cheryl, are we on new board? Sorry, let's make sure we're at on the polls.
Yeah, we're at the nomination and election of officers. Okay, so check the bios that are in your packet and vote according to that. The following individuals have been nominated for officer positions for 2022. As president-elect, Loretta Cravens; as treasurer, Kathy Shuck; and as secretary, Carlos Yunsan. Are there any nominations from the floor? Okay, we have a motion to close nominations and approve the slate by acclamation. All right, a motion and a second. For those of you on Zoom, please look for the poll. All in favor, please say aye. Any opposed? All right, hearing none, congratulations to our officers for 2022. Now, additionally, as Marcia noticed, the nominating committee recommended that Magistrate Robin Gunn be elected to the government and public sector position on our board. Are there any additional nominations for this position from the floor? Okay, we have a motion and a second. All of those on Zoom, please look for your poll. And those of you who are present, please say aye if you approve this motion. Aye. Any opposed? All right, hearing none, congratulations to Magistrate Gunn. Good. And now we have a slate of 6 individuals recommended by the nominating committee as candidates for the three-year positions on our board. Those individuals are Ursula Bailey, John Brock, Cynthia Deedle, Luke Einen, Bill Minot, and Vanessa Samano. Unless there are nominations from the floor for the 3-year terms on the board, I would entertain a motion to close nominations and elect these individuals by secret ballot. All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor of closing nominations and electing these 3 positions by secret ballot, please say aye. Aye. All right, any opposed? Hearing none, we will proceed to that. For those of you in the room, you have a yellow ballot, please fill it out. The KBA staff, I'm going to ask them to help collect ballots. And so if you'll just pass your ballot to the end of the aisle, they can collect. For those of you on Zoom, there is a link in the Zoom chat for the poll, and you will have 5 minutes to complete your voting.
All right. Now, I'm going to report on a bylaws change that's been proposed. The KBA Board of Governors is proposing and recommending a change to our bylaws to allow for retired members who are under the age of 70 and who have been members of the KBA to, for 25 or more years, to be exempt from paying annual membership dues. Currently, the bylaws allow an exemption for dues for members who are 70 or older and have been a member for 25 years or more. But this change is recommended to allow some of our members who are fortunate enough to retire before age 70, but who've also been a member of the KBA for 25 years or more, to have that same opportunity. So you'll find this proposed change in the wording of it in your packet on page 14. The new language in the packet is bolded, I believe, and underlined. And I'm going to go ahead and just read the entire section to you briefly. So the board is recommending that the membership approve a change to the KBA bylaws, Article 3, Section 2, Item C, so that it will read as follows. Retired members in good standing at the time of their retirement. A retired member shall mean a member who is retired from the practice of law in good standing and 1, has reached the age of 70 years and 2, been a member of the association for 25 years or more. And this is the major part of the change coming. If a member has retired from the practice of law in good standing and has been a member of the association for at least 25 years, but has not reached the age of 70, the member can submit a letter of request to the association, which shall have the direct discretion to grant such request. And I would like to entertain a motion at this time to approve the bylaws change. All right, we have a motion and a second. For those of you on Zoom, you should have an opportunity to complete a poll here as well. All those in favor of approving this bylaws change, please say aye. Aye. All right, any opposed? All right, thank you very much. Now I'd like to take just a brief moment and recognize a few people that are here with us today. First, I'd like to ask anyone who is a new admittee to the bar, licensed in 2021, to please stand. Any new admittees? Congratulations to you all. I want to encourage you each to be active in the KBA, to get involved in our barristers and our new lawyers section. And for those of you that didn't stand, I want you to take time to make these new members of our bar feel welcome and help them to be integrated into our bar. Secondly, I'd like to ask now the members of the judiciary who are here with us today to please stand and be recognized. Thank you. We appreciate your continued support of the KBA and particularly appreciate your willingness to open court late this morning so that we could hold this meeting. I also would like to ask if any current or former elected officials are in the audience, if they would please stand. Thank you for your service to our state and to our community. I'd also like to ask the KBA officers, board members, and committee and section chairs, as well as the barristers officers and committee and section chairs to stand. Thank you. Thank you for your important service to the KBA. Almost last year, I got a couple more. Is Adrian Anderson here? Hi, Adrian in the back. I want to recognize Adrian for selflessly serving as general counsel to the KBA again this year. Adrian, thank you for your wisdom and your guidance. We appreciate everything you do for us. All right, last but not least, I'd like to ask anyone who's been practicing 50 years or more to please stand. I know there's a few of you in here. Thank you. You contributed greatly to the KBA over the years, and we're here because of you.
in many respects. And now I would like to ask Kathy Schuck and Chris McCarty to come forward and present the Publication Committee's Dicta Awards.
Morning again. We do. Can you hear us now? Like after 2 years on Zoom, we've forgotten how to speak in person. So it's our pleasure and privilege to present the annual Dicta Award for outstanding writing in our monthly magazine. And I think it's fair to say that Dicta really just keeps getting better every year. And as much as Chris and Melissa and I would love to take credit for that, the real credit, of course, as with everything, goes to Marcia for pulling it together every month, but also to the hundreds of you all in the bar who volunteer your time every year to write for the magazine. We really, really appreciate the efforts, and the writing has just been outstanding of late. So it has been harder and harder to choose a recipient of this award. And as many great pieces as there were this year, one series really stood out. We started a series actually in 2020 called I'm gonna say it wrong, What I Learned About Inclusion and Why It Matters. And all of the pieces that were submitted this year were really impactful because they shared personal, unique perspectives from each of the writers on everything about inclusion, from race to disability, to upbringing, to location. And we really are grateful for every single one of those authors for sharing their story and their perspective. And I want to ask if there's anybody present who contributed to what I learned about inclusion and why it matters. Would you please stand so we can thank you? But of all of the wonderful pieces, one of them really stood out. I'm going to hand it to Chris to describe that.
This piece stands out to me. There was two parts of it I want to illustrate and just make sure that for those of you who didn't read it, I can only give my perspective on it. And there's a part in the story, and it is a story, it's a personal story, where the author talks about a recent experience of walking into a courtroom, probably near here, and being confronted, I'll say confronted, about being a lawyer, being questioned about being a lawyer, being doubted about being a lawyer. And as I read that story, there's a part at the end that I don't think the author meant for it to have this effect, but it did, where she says that 7 lawyers walked by and weren't questioned the same way. And I thought, if I would have walked by that day, would I have said something? I like to think I would have, but I can't lie and tell you I would. The other part of that, as I was preparing what to say today, and it was hard, there's another part of that article, there's a line from it I want to get right, where the author says, performative activism is not the same thing as actual activism. And as I stand on this stage right now, talking to you as a white man, it seems like this could be that. So I hope you don't take it that way. I hope you take this as thanks. I hope you take this as we appreciate your perspective. I hope that I learned from it. I hope that a lot of us learned from it. And I'm proud to call you a colleague and a bar member. And if I'd have been there that day and I'd walked by when that was happening, I wish I'd have said the same. So Ursula Bailey, thank you so much for your contribution.
We have another recognition to present today. And I'm going to start it with a little trivia quiz for Chris and for all of you play along. What do Discovery, the Judiciary, the history of presidential debates, family golf outings, wild boars, the Donner Party, the 4 words in the English language that begin with DW, dwell, dwarf, dwindle, dweeb, an essay on why To Kill a Mockingbird is slightly, but only slightly, a better movie than Jaws, New Year's traditions from Albania, Tennessee sports, and an ode to the humble pencil. What do these all have in common?
Jason.
They have all been topics of the 242 columns that Jason has authored for us over the last 22 years.
This is the part where I'm supposed to make a wisecrack about that you don't look a day over 60, which you do. But The only thing I do want to say in a serious tone with that is over 22 years, you brought us humor, you brought us joy in reading it, but in the age of Rule 11 letters and quippy emails and just anger and sanctions, you also brought us humility. And we appreciate your perspective, Jason Long. You're a true leader. You're a joy to have in this bar, and we're going to miss you. Thank you very much.
Congratulations, Ursula and Jason. Thank you for your service and your time. I know it's, having written a column every month for the last year, which is something I hadn't done before. I know what work it takes to write a column for Dicta, and I appreciate you both. We all do. So now I'd like to recognize our outgoing board members of the Board of Governors, and I'd like to ask each of you to come forward if you're here. Hanson Tipton, who served on our board from 2017 through this year. Allison Jackson, who served 2019 through this year. Eric Lutton, our government service representative this year. Elizabeth Ford, a member of the Board of Governors from 2019 through this year. Rachel Hurt, I saw Rachel here somewhere. Also a member 2019 through this year. And Sherry DeCosta Alley, a member 2020 and 2021. Thank you to each of you for your service. We appreciate the time you've committed to the KBA board. Thank you all. This time, I'd like to invite Matt McDonald of the KBA's Professionalism Committee to please come forward and present the Courage in the Face of Adversity Award.
Good morning. I'm Matthew McDonald, and I serve on the KBA's Professionalism Committee. And I'm pleased to be here this morning with all of you and to introduce this year's recipient of the KBA's Courage in the Face of Adversity Award. This award is bestowed periodically to a member of the KBA who has exhibited exceptional courage, charity, grace, unselfishness, and professionalism in the face of adversity. From time to time, the Professionalism Committee takes part in nominating a recipient to the Board of Governors to receive this recognition, and such was the case this year. By a vote of the Board of Governors, and I'm going to announce the recipient, then I'm going to say a few words, so just hold your horses. By a vote of the Board of Governors, the recipient of the Courage in the Face of Adversity Award this year is the Honorable John F. Weaver, Chancellor for Part 1 of the Chancery Court for Knox County, Tennessee. Morning, Chancellor.
Good morning.
As many of you may know, several months back, Chancellor Weaver faced some serious injuries to both of his legs. This put him in a position where he was temporarily unable to preside in person in the Part 1 courtroom. More importantly, for Chancellor Weaver, it came at a great personal expense to him, to his health, and to his well-being and quality of life. During the course of the Chancellor's long recovery and rehabilitation, which is still ongoing, he was inpatient for a time, followed by a long stint of recovery at home. And just to be clear, Chancellor, I said inpatient as in facility, not inpatient. I know you're not inpatient. He began physical therapy when he endured as many as 3 times per week. During the entirety of his injury and recovery process, Chancellor Weaver never took his attention off his judicial duties. All of the cases he could review and the matters to which he could attend from a distance, he did so. He reviewed and signed orders in rehab and at home. During the period of his absence from the courthouse, the chancellor, along with his seemingly omniscient assistant, Miss Pam Jennings, she's not here this morning, but they attended to the rescheduling and in some cases, the reassignment of matters that needed to be immediately brought before the court in person. In short, his office kept things moving. As always, despite his injuries, the chancellor continues to outwork those around him. In the face of all of this, Chancellor Weaver did not abandon his post, but he maintained a forward path on his road to recovery and to once again presiding in person in part one of the Chancery Court. His service to the bench and bar has remained steadfast. Our recipient this year has truly exhibited the exceptional courage and professionalism that is worthy of this honor. So now it's my great honor to present to Chancellor Weaver the 2021 Courage in the Face of Adversity Award. Chancellor Weaver.
Thank you, and congratulations, Chancellor Weaver. It is my privilege at this time to present the Kba Presidents Award. Many of you know this award is given every year by the Kba President, and it is given in recognition of outstanding performance and dedicated service on behalf of the Knoxville Bar Association. This year, it's my pleasure to give this award to the co-chairs of our Diversity in the Profession Committee, Carlos Yunsen and Akram Pfizer. And I'm going to ask you two to come forward. Let me say a few things about you. So first of all, let me just say, if you don't know Carlos and Akram, you need to get to know them. They're both great. They've been active members of our Diversity in the Profession Committee for several years. For the past 2 years, they've teamed up to co-chair the committee. And the things the committee has done during their tenure have been amazing. The committee has grown in engagement and membership. The committee has taken on new initiatives that are really coming to life, in addition to doing everything the committee has always done. And I think to have accomplished everything that committee has accomplished during the era of the pandemic is huge. So Carlos and Akram, for your vision and for your leadership in the committee's efforts. And I want to quote from our committee description: to ensure that every attorney can succeed professionally and has the opportunity to participate in the affairs of our legal community. I want to thank you for everything you've done. Thank you. All right. Thank you. And at this time, I'd like to invite Bill Vines forward to present the Governor's Award.
The board has designated the highest award of this association to be the Governor's Award. The history of this award is that some years ago, the members of the board were talking and we had lost a very respected member. And somebody said, I wish I'd been able to say to that person how much they meant to my practice and how much respect we had for them. That's hard to do in an adversarial environment. So we decided it would be the highest award, because what could be more rewarding than for your peers to say to you, we have special respect. We think you're a role model attorney. The way it works is that a committee is appointed and that committee makes recommendations to your elected Board of Governors, and so it's called the Governor's Award because that's who makes the final choice. This year, the committee, Blue Ribbon Committee, President-elect Jason Long, Judge Jerome Melson, Caitlin Elledge, Elizabeth Ford, Samuel Lee, Carlos Yunson, Tom Dickinson, and myself. This award is always considered in private and in secret, so that the recipient of this award never knows they're even being considered. And that's true today. The person that's going to get it doesn't know it. And that person is Charles Munson. Now, some of his office staff wanted to be here. Are they here with Charles? If anybody wants to stand with Charles to prop him up, you're welcome to do that. Let me talk a little bit about Charles. You don't get to be the president of bar associations unless you're well respected. And is this Amanda? Yeah. Yes. Amanda has been with him for 30 years. Is that right? 20 years? Forever. 5 years? Forever. Pick one. Charles, if he gets close to an organization, he's the president. He was president of Barristers, he's president of the KBA, and he's president of the Tennessee Bar Association. Now he's the law director for the city of Knoxville, and that requires that he be pretty good at tiptoeing around. And he does a really good job. You might be interested to know he's very athletic. He's out running in the morning before most of us roll over. And he went to college on a baseball scholarship. He went to Pfeiffer, wherever that is, and played for the Falcons. And when I heard that, I just wondered, what about the cheerleaders? They have to say Pfeiffer Falcons real close. But apparently he got through. Well, what is his best achievement from all this? He convinced a beautiful and talented lady to marry him. And that beautiful and talented person went on to be our first female federal judge in the Eastern District of Tennessee, Pam Reeves. From that union, 4 lawyers. Amanda is Amanda. She is with the Justice Department now, got a scholarship at UVA. I think the only out-of-state scholarship. She's already written a book. Reedy is also a graduate of UVA. He's now clerking for the Court of Appeal in the 4th Circuit. He's clerk for the DC Circuit. Charles has lots of friends. And one of those is Bill Halton. You remember that Bill wrote the article for the Tennessee Bar Journal, the first thing you read, because it's humorous and it was at the end. And he's a speaker and a lawyer of some note, but they're close friends. And I called Bill and said, you know, for 30 years I've written a Dicta article, but Charles is your friend. Would you write that article? And he agreed to do so. So you're going to want to read the Dicta this time because Bill is the one that wrote it. Well, what a family and what a lawyer, Charles. We think you are a role model lawyer, and we ask you to accept our highest award. truly was a surprise. I had no idea. But I'll say this, it's like getting an award for eating ice cream. But you're getting an award for having a great time, a great career, great opportunities. You know, when they introduced the new lawyers this morning, and I was glad to see you guys are here today, and I hope more of you will come as time and pandemics permit. But you're in for a great ride, and I've been in for a great ride, and it's because of you guys. It's because of the kind of bar we have. I've had great opportunities to travel the state and sometimes to travel the country, to observe other lawyers, to observe other organizations, to observe other bar groups. Our bar association stacks up favorably against any of them. Any of them. I am so grateful to have had the opportunity over the course of my career to practice with you all. To be a part of this group is just has been amazing to me. I can't talk about my wife. She would be proud. And I appreciate so much you all and what you all have meant to me and our family over these many years. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bill, and committee, and congratulations, Charles, well deserved. I would like to invite Amanda Conkin, our Barristers President, to come forward and present the report of barristers for this year and introduce us to our new president for 2022. Amanda.
All right. Good morning. Wow, what a presentation to follow. That was very touching and incredible. So congratulations. Good morning to all. My name is Amanda Tonkin, and I've had the honor and privilege to serve as this year's Barristers President. As the KBA has continued to adapt its practices secondary to challenges brought on by COVID, barristers have had to continue to adapt, evolve, and thrive throughout this challenging year. I'm proud to announce that barristers have stayed active despite the obstacles surrounding our new pandemic landscape. And I'd like to take a few moments to recognize some of these numerous accomplishments. Access to Justice chairs Spencer Fair and Luke Enan continued running the Veterans Legal Advice Clinic. Thanks to their hard work, clinics returned to an in-person format, ensuring we serve those members of our community who have sacrificed so much to serve this country. Athletics chairs Luke Durham and James Parker ran yet another successful golf tournament, impressively raising over $3,300 in proceeds. CLE chairs Seth Oakes and Sam Louderback brought us excellent summer fun CLE's programming, which included new topics of sports betting and avoiding responding ethical complaints, and an old favorite, legal ethics on the big and small screen. Constitution Chair Michael Tao and Zach Walden brought volunteers back into the classroom this year. Volunteers presented lessons on the Constitution to 4 local elementary schools, along with 6 members of our local judiciary who volunteered thereafter, listening to the students' presentations and discussing with them the impact of the Constitution on the judiciary. They also presented the Law and Liberty Award to Spencer Fair, recognizing his service to the Veterans Legal Advice Clinic. Diversity chairs Sujin Kim and Jessica Jernigan Johnson helped host a successful February CLE, combating racial bias in the judicial system, and worked alongside attorney and student volunteers on a new project, clearing invasive weeds from an East Knox historic cemetery dating back to the 1840s, containing the remains of both slave and free Black populations. Hunger and Poverty Relief co-chairs Chuck Sherritt and Jimmy Snodgrass continued their extensive charity work, running a successful professional clothing drive, a successful Brews for Backpacks event, which raised over $700 and 15 backpacks benefiting child help, the Coat Drive event, which benefited CARM, and most recently, the Second Harvest Food Drive. This year, you all raised rather, over $19,000 in donations. That's over 300 pounds of food. A special thank you to all donating organizations and individuals, but a special thank you to the top 3 donating firms and organizations, Landry and Azevedo, Brock, Scheit and Klenk, and Eldridge and Blakeney. Law School Mentor Chairs Bob Dezawuski and Courtney Walker adapted the mock interview program to a virtual setting, ensuring students in our local law schools had the opportunity to practice their interviewing skills to prepare for summer internship interviews. Membership chairs Matt McClanahan and Katie O'Neill worked hard to help us safely resume our social activities in person, ensuring that we were able to socialize safely in outdoor events. These included an outdoor spring social, the always cherished summer party, and the new admittees reception. Mock trial chair Patrick O'Neill helped the TBA recruit volunteers for its first ever virtual high school mock trial competition. Last but never least, volunteer breakfast chairs Mitchell Panter and Matt Knable continued their incredible efforts preparing meals for those in need in their own kitchens for the first half of the year. Once volunteers were allowed to return to the VMC, they helped coordinate and serve those in need back to an in-person format. A special thank you to all of you who helped sponsor breakfasts and volunteered at those breakfasts. It's been an absolutely terrific year, despite all odds. I'm thankful for all of these wonderful chairs I just explained about, our incredible executive board, and the hardworking staff of the KBA for making this year possible. These accomplishments would not have been possible without all of you and your hard work and dedication to the barristers. Thank you so much. I'd like to go ahead and introduce our new barristers president, Megan Culver. Megan is a shareholder at London Amburn, primarily representing clients involved in healthcare liability defense matters, complex litigation matters, and products liability defense. Megan is a member not only of the KBA, but also of the Hamilton Burnett American Inn of Court, TBA, and ABA, serving as co-chair to both the ABA Women's Rainmakers Communications Committee and Law Practice Management Committee. Her dedication and hard work in both serving her clients and our community has earned her numerous accolades, including the 2019 Barrister's President Award and the 2021 Ones to Watch Best Lawyer Award. It's my pleasure to introduce to you the new Barrister's President, Megan Culver.
We're going so fast. Well, Amanda Tonkin has left me huge shoes to fill, and it's been an honor to serve as her vice president. And you've heard all that was accomplished under her leadership in 2021. And while I can never replace Amanda, I am very excited to step into the shoes, and I look forward to 2022. So with that being said, Amanda, thank you for your service. As Amanda has already said, I'm Megan Culver. I am a shareholder at London Amburn PC, and I will be the KBA Barristers President for 2022. Words cannot express the gratitude and the thanks for those who served in the barristers for 2021, and to all the members of the barristers for their contributions in 2021 that made it such a wonderful and successful year. And as I've said, while I have enormous shoes to fill left by Amanda, I'm excited for the prospective projects in the works for 2022. We have a great executive committee lined up with Zachary Walden as my vice president, Jordan Hauser as a member at large, Christine Knott as a member at large, and last but not least, my coworker Chuck Sherritt as secretary and treasurer. We also have a wonderful and dedicated barristers committee chairs lined up for 2022, and I'm confident with the guidance of the past chairs and the ideas of the new incoming chairs, we'll be able to brainstorm and better serve the Knoxville legal community and the community at large. And as part of this goal, we plan on continuing with projects that people in the community have come to rely upon, including the Veterans Legal Clinic, the Professional Clothing Drive, the Coats for the Cold, Brews for Backpacks, Second Harvest Food Drive, Spark Toy Drive, and Volunteer Breakfast. We are also working on brainstorming new ways to get law students involved and new lawyers in our community involved in the barristers, because I think my vice president and Zach Walden in his candidate speech said it best: the barristers are the front door to the Knoxville legal community and to the Bar Association. And I know that I was welcomed with open arms when I started practicing in Knoxville, and I hope we continue that tradition this year. In addition, we are planning on exploring the best way to serve Knoxville's legal community by potentially adding additional CLE programming, some of which you've heard here today, on hot topics such as data privacy, cybersecurity, attorney well-being, managing your time as a lawyer, and our ever-evolving ethical duties as lawyers. We also plan on collaborating more with the big bar, as the barristers call it, on projects that will better serve not only the Knoxville legal community, but the community at large. That shouldn't be too hard, since I will just have to walk down the hall to collaborate with Jason Long. But in all seriousness, though, this year and last year have presented us with several challenges, and the KBA and its members in our Knoxville legal community have risen to the occasion as always. We have supported each other, we have persevered, and we've continued to serve our community. And I'm confident we will continue to work together and rise to any challenges 2022 may bring. And I look forward to serving as the KBA Barristers President and predict a prosperous and service-driven 2022. Thank you.
Thank you, Amanda, and thank you, Megan. Congratulations to you both. The barristers, as you know, is probably the hardest working group within our bar. They do so much, and they really are, as was said, the front door to the community in so many ways for our bar association. Now I'd like to invite Zach Arnold, who is the managing attorney for Legal Aid of East Tennessee Knoxville, to come forward and present an update on the pro bono project.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. As stated, my name is Zach Arnold. I'm the managing attorney of the Knoxville office of Legal Aid of East Tennessee, and I'm pinch hitting today for Caitlin Torney, who is our pro bono manager. All of us at Legal Aid would just first like to thank the KBA and all the members of the bar for your continued support of our pro bono program and for our goal of bringing access to justice to all of East Tennessee. As I'm sure it was for everyone, 2021 was a year of transformation for Legal Aid of East Tennessee and our pro bono project. We welcome new staff, we form new and exciting partnerships, and we launched new clinics and new clinic models. After a long hiatus, we were finally able to resume in-person clinics, and it has been great for both our clients and for the volunteer attorneys to be able to meet in person. While client and volunteer safety, of course, remains our top priority, in-person clinics play an invaluable role in connecting clients and volunteer attorneys, as many of our clients struggle with virtual clinic access. That said, we also recognize the value of a hybrid model, and we will continue to welcome volunteer attorneys via phone to our clinics as well. Pro bono cases in 2021 ran the gamut, from assisting seniors with estate planning documents, to helping families with adoptions, conservatorships, and name changes, to filing bankruptcies for indigent debtors. The pro bono project at Legal Aid in Knoxville placed over 100 cases with attorneys for full representation, and well over 100 more have received advice through our advice clinics. We held 19 clinics in Knoxville in 2021, 11 clinics for veterans, 4 debt relief clinics assisting with bankruptcy and related debt issues, 2 faith and justice clinics where we seek to bring legal advice to settings more comfortable for our client populations, a specialized debt relief clinic in conjunction with the TVA, and a legal advice clinic specifically for victims of domestic violence. We also launched a monthly phone advice clinic to assist clients with landlord-tenant issues, and we look forward to expanding our rotating phone advice clinic roster next year. These recurring phone advice clinics allow us to more frequently provide clients with opportunities to speak to an attorney telephonically and get valuable legal advice that way. We look forward to maintaining all of these clinic models and introducing new and exciting models as we move forward to next year. In total, we were able to assist nearly 300 clients through our pro bono program, thanks to all of our excellent volunteer attorneys. We assisted 75 clients with bankruptcy and other consumer issues, 41 clients with family law issues, 38 clients with housing issues, helped 14 clients obtain public benefits, helped 14 clients obtain their driver's license, and assisted 62 clients with wills, powers of attorney, and advance directives. We cannot state enough how important the continued commitment of our pro bono volunteer attorneys is to the success of our pro bono program. There are far too many of you to name here today, but please know that we truly appreciate each and every one of you, and we encourage anyone who hasn't volunteered with us to consider doing so in 2022. Again, thank you to the KBA, to UT, to LMU, to our volunteer attorneys, to the bar, to your paralegals, your support staff, your law clerks, to everyone who makes up this excellent legal community for your continued support of legal ed. I hope that everyone has a great holiday season and a great start to 2022. Thank you.
Thank you, Zach. We're really fortunate to have Legal Aid of East Tennessee here in our community, and we really value the partnership. So appreciate that report, and thank you for all the good work. At this time, I'd like to invite John Eldridge, co-chair of the Kba Committee on Memorials, to come forward and provide a report from that committee.
Thank you. It's at this time of the annual meeting that we pause and pay homage to those brothers and sisters among us who have gone on to their great reward. Since we last met, we've lost 25 lawyers. We've had 2 memorial services, one in the spring and one in the fall. And if you missed them, they are available on the KBA website. In a moment, I'm going to read the names of those lawyers that we have lost. But before I do, I want to ask you to stand and remain standing as I read these names, and also remain standing for a moment of silence when I conclude. William Richard Rick Baker, Rufus Wilford Beamer Jr., William Bill Crabtree, Robert Louis Crosley Jr., Melinda Lee Doss, John Harvey Fowler, Claude Leon Franks, the Honorable Herschel Pickens Franks, Arlene W. Guyton, R. Keith Hatfield, Norman Blaine Jackson, William J. Lawson, John Davis J.D. Lee, Matthew Brian Long, Daryl Jean Lowe, David Vance Van Martin, Dan McGehee, W. Clark Meredith, James E. O'Connor III, Mark Robert Orr, John Paul Robinson, the Honorable Pamela Lynn Reeves, Alfred Benjamin Ben Strand Jr., Alan J. Ware Jr., and the Honorable William Harold M. Wimberly. Amen. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Thank you for that committee's work, which is so meaningful, not only to our bar, but also to the members of the families of those who pass on. And so now it is my pleasure to present the results of our balloting. I'm pleased to report that the following KBA members have been elected to the Board of Governors for 3-year terms. I'm going to take this mask off because I'm going to be up here for a few minutes. Ursula Bailey, Bill Minor, and Vanessa Samano. Congratulations to each of you. We look forward to your service and appreciate your willingness to serve. And I personally look forward to. Oh, I'm so sorry. Bill Minor. Yeah. Ursula Bailey, Bill Minor, and Vanessa Samano. So look forward to serving with. I look forward to serving with each of you next year. And speaking of next year, it's almost time for this program to end, but I do want to take a couple minutes, personal privilege, to say a few thank yous.
before I pass the gavel to my friend and colleague, Jason Long. First of all, obviously, I need to thank my husband, Bill, for all of his support over the past year. I also want to thank my firm, Edgerton, McAfee, Armistead, and Davis, and my assistant Liz in particular, for their support of me. I appreciate you all so much. I really want to thank many of you who have reached out to me and encouraged me on this journey over the years. I have really appreciated it. It means more than you may realize to have your kind words and your support and your encouragement. So thank you. You know, it really seems like it was just a minute ago. I think Kathy asked me that this morning. Did it feel like a minute or a million minutes that I had been standing up here? But it just feels like a minute ago that I was up here and there were maybe a handful of people in this room when we were having a virtual meeting last year. But it has been a great year. I've really appreciated the opportunity to serve as your KBA president. I'm really proud of what our bar has done over the past year, and honestly, throughout almost the past 2 years of pandemic. I think the strength of our bar has really shown during this time. We have maybe not had the opportunity to do everything exactly the way we hoped it would happen, but I'm really excited with what we have done, and I'm really excited that we're actually back here in person today. And I look forward to great things to come next year, and with these folks beside me leading the way as well. So I think I'd be remiss if I didn't say a special thanks to our executive director, Marsha Watson, and her staff, Tammy, Tracy, Jonathan, Jennifer, and Chandler. You all are excellent. We couldn't do what the bar does without all of you. And so just, if you'll join me in thanking them. Of course, I recognize our board, our officers, our barristers leaders, our committee and section co-chairs earlier, and you all do so much of the work. But I really want to recognize all of the bar, all of our members. The KBA would not exist without our members, and we don't succeed without you who are our members. So thank you all for everything that you've done to make this bar successful. This pandemic has been a strange time. We've been very flexible. You've been willing to be very flexible. I think what this shows is a testament to your care and consideration for the law, for the profession, for our community, and for this bar organization. And so I thank you all for the opportunity to serve as your president and for everything that you make this community, for me and for all the rest of us, a great place to practice law. Now, last and not least, I have to thank Jason Long, my friend and colleague, for his willingness to serve as our president in the coming year. I know we're going to benefit greatly from your leadership and your experience. And I'd like to take the opportunity at this time to invite his wife, Carol Ann, and his firm, London Anburn, to escort him to the stage. Jason, it's really my pleasure to pass the gavel to you of all people. And I also would like to recognize the Honorable Greg McMillan, who's going to administer the oath of office.
State your name. Mindful of the needs of our legal community. Mindful of the needs of our legal community. And with due respect for the rule of law. And with due respect for the rule of law. Do solemnly affirm. Do solemnly affirm. That I will support the Constitution of the United States. That I will support the Constitution of the United States. The Constitution of the State of Tennessee. The Constitution of the State of Tennessee. And the Tennessee Rules of Professional Conduct. And the Tennessee Rules of Professional Conduct. Further, I will faithfully and diligently. In accordance with the association's bylaws. Perform the duties. As the president of the Knoxville Bar Association. And conduct myself with honesty. Fairness. Integrity. And civility. To the best of my skill and abilities. So help me God. I want to thank, well, everyone in this room, but first and foremost, people standing on stage and a couple of other people. It's appropriate Judge McMillan administered the oath as he was the person who took me to my first barristers meeting 25 years ago. So I appreciate that. And between him and Sarah and Charles and Bill Minot, they taught me what it meant to give bar service and how special the Knoxville bar was. So I appreciate them for that education and for that mentorship. I appreciate also the fact that when I came to London and Amber, they embraced that culture. And these attorneys have stood by me over my many years of bar service and have always supported it, have always appreciated it, have always known that it's important to the bar, important to the profession. And for that, I'm most appreciative. It's possible to do this job without the support of the lawyers you work with, but it's not fun. And being in this firm and knowing the support that I have, it's a pleasure and it's a joy. And thank you all for your support. And then I guess most importantly, I need to thank my wife, Carol Ann. We met, well, we're not exactly sure when we met, but I know we were flirting with each other at a barristers meeting. I know that we were flirting with each other at a Bar Association Habitat for Humanity build. I know that I was at the Knoxville Bar Association Barristers Golf Tournament when Chris Kane told me that I needed to ask her out on a date. So were it not for the Knoxville Bar, I wouldn't have the joy of my life and the person who has supported me in everything that I've done and the person who's made me who I am. So for the many years of service that she has given in supporting me, being there for me, and enduring countless hours of bar service, I want to thank my wife, Carol Ann, as well. Megan, we're going to have a great year this year, and I'm going to allow you all to retake your seats. Thank you. The next order of business is to honor our outgoing president, Cheryl Rice. And what I will say about Cheryl is this. I thought Hanson had a tough year as Bar Association president. It is hard enough to serve in this capacity, let alone do it when you're suddenly faced with a pandemic and you have to figure out what that means for a bar association, for a legal community, and for lawyers. Hanson, you did an excellent job of that. I think we had all hoped that Cheryl's year would see a return to normalcy, and in many ways it has. But what Cheryl has been confronted with is not only the reality of a pandemic, but one that waxes and wanes. I can't tell you the number of times Cheryl was there to adapt, to innovate, to figure out with Marcia how an event needed to change, how an activity had to be altered, because what we thought was going to be the reality of the pandemic turned out not to be the reality. It's been a difficult year, and you've had extraordinary leadership in dealing with those difficult circumstances. And for that reason, I'd like to honor and thank Cheryl Rice for her service as bar president this past year. I should add that she did it all with grace and humility and her general charisma, and I've grown close to her as a result, and I've come to call her a good friend. She's always been a good friend, but this year I've just grown in admiration of our outgoing president, so thank you. So Jim London told me yesterday that the meeting needed to be less than 1 hour. Jim, we almost made it, very close. I'm going to do my part to get us out in as close to an hour as possible. I want to first echo something that Charles said, because I think it's absolutely true. I have been fortunate enough to see an awful lot of bars in operation as well. There's no place I'd rather be, no bar association I'd be more honored to call home than the Knoxville Bar Association. I think it stands up not only to the best of the bars in the country? I think it is, in my humble opinion, the best bar in the country. So I'm very proud and honored to be a member of this association. This is the highest professional honor that I've ever received, to be given the opportunity to lead this organization, to be a representative of this organization, means a lot to me. And it is an honor that I thank you for, and I thank the bar for. I've also attended a lot of bar leader preparatory seminars over the years, a lot of conferences where they tell you how to lead an organization and be a president, whatever, serve as an officer. And one thing they always tell you is, have a major theme project or a theme for your year. And you spend all this time coming up with a theme or major projects, and then a pandemic hits and it all goes out the window. So I've decided to come up with a very simple theme I can express very quickly so we can get out of here. And one that I'm pretty sure we can adhere to regardless of what comes our way. And that is, this year I want to celebrate. I want to celebrate the KBA. I want to celebrate our resilience. I want to celebrate our innovation. I want to celebrate our excellence, celebrate our diversity, our accomplishments, and most importantly for me, I want to celebrate our friendships. So this year will be a year of celebration. We'll do it virtually, we'll do it in person, we'll do it any way we can, but we will continue to honor the KBA, and I'm looking forward to a great year. Thank you. Now I get to take my first official act as KBA president, and that's to entertain a motion to adjourn. Is there a second? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Yeah, we're adjourned. Thank you.